Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to some more reading sprints. I will wait a couple of minutes to do introductions to let people join, and I will do a quick tweet to let people know that we are live. But if you're here, please let us know in the chat what you're reading, what you're planning on reading, and yeah.
And if you have a nice beverage, let us know what you're drinking. I've got some blueberry green tea right now, and it's a rainy day, so the mug feels appropriate. When it rains, look for rainbows.
I've never heard of blueberry green tea. I love that.
Yeah, it's the Yogi brand. Have you ever heard of that brand?
I think it sounds familiar. Might recognize the packaging more than I know the name. Oh, yeah. I know that.
Mm-hmm. It's so delicious. It smells like a blueberry muffin.
Nice. I just have water in a Star Wars cup because my cat drinks my water, so I have to have it in cups with lids, and this is the only cup with lids that we have.
Oh my goodness, that's precious. Remind me of your cat's name again.
Her name's Maggie.
Okay. Yeah.
She might pop up soon because I haven't seen her much today, so she might come and ask for some cuddles. Katie is here. Are you okay to add you to the stream, Katie? Are you good? Awesome. Hello, Katie. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, awesome. Right, would you guys want to introduce yourselves? Because we've got a few people watching. Do you want to go first? Wait, wrong way. I always do the wrong way because I forget it's mirrored.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is Kristin, and I have a YouTube channel where I'm the most active out of all the social medias, and that's Perks of Bookflower. I read lots of different types of books, but lately I've been kind of in like a fantasy and contemporary mood. But really I'm known for classics, historical fiction. I kind of just like everything, as long as it's like character-based and fast-paced.
That sounds good. Yeah, and my name's Katie. I'm reading with Katie on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and all the places. And I read quite widely as well, actually. Typically, I don't really know what typically is. It kind of changes. I used to read loads of literary fiction, and then more recently I read quite a lot of contemporary romance. Really, I'll read anything. I've got quite into sci-fi recently, so that's another little random avenue my reading has gone down. But yeah, so I'm based in Iceland, and I've lived here for 2 years, and I'm from Scotland. And I think that's probably all the basics about me.
Nice. The other important question is, do you have a drink at the moment? We were talking about what drinks we had with us.
Oh, I do. Just a water, though. Nothing exciting. What have you guys got?
Oh, we're both boring with our waters.
Well, I do have a green. It's like a blueberry green tea. It's the Yogi brand, and it smells like a blueberry muffin.
Oh, that sounds so nice. I like that mug as well. That's so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, I got it from TJ Maxx.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They have the best mugs.
They do. You're so good.
I'm really sad because I've moved back in with my parents for a little while when my boyfriend goes back to university. So all of my mugs are in the garage in boxes because my parents are like, we don't want our mugs and your mugs. So whenever people do there's loads of Bookstagram tags where it's like, oh, I match the books with your mugs. I'm like, I can't do that because all my parents' mugs are just white.
Oh no. I was going to say it'd be hard to separate again once when you move out again, but I guess if they're all white,
it's very obvious which ones are mine.
Yeah.
I don't really do sets. I just buy mugs that I think are cute.
Yeah, I'm the same. Mm-hmm.
I remember whenever I moved into my apartment and all of my books were in that weird stage, or they're in boxes, or just kind of thrown in stacks on the floor. I felt so like I wasn't at home. I felt so uncomfortable to have my books not all together.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I was moving home, my parents were like, if you're going to have this big desk so you can work from home, I'm not sure you're going to be able to fit your bookcases in. I was like, I will find a way. And they're like, you can see them obviously here, but half of the bookshelves you can't see because it's behind, because I got an L-shaped desk. I'm like, it doesn't matter because I can still see some and they're still here.
There's a will,
Let's
there's a
see,
way.
we've got a couple of people in the chat. Just say hello. So Ness is here. Hi, Ness. Let us know what you're reading, Ness, if you are reading. And we've got Adriana, who's reading The Last Witch, which is Witcher 0.5. I might be switching with Witch Shadow. I really need to read the Witcher books because I refuse to watch the show until I read them, but I just haven't read them. But yeah, let us know what you're reading, what you're drinking if you have a drink. Yeah. So how's your guys' reading months been? Have you managed to get much reading in this month?
Yeah. I think I've read like 4 books so far this month. So
Nice.
that's good for me, especially for those who don't know, I'm a teacher, and August in the United States is the month that we go back to school. And it's usually, besides May, like the craziest month of the year. So I feel like the fact that I've been able to read any book, honestly, is pretty good.
That's an achievement.
Is it not really hot in August?
Oh, it's so hot. It's awful. It's 90
Then why
degrees.
did you go back to school in August?
I don't know. I think that had something to do with like there's some historical reasoning behind it, I think, but I don't particularly know.
It's in Scotland. It's August in Scotland as well. Yeah, I don't really know why, because I think England's September, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually, my birthday is usually the second week. My birthday is the 16th of September, so we usually go back like around the 5th is like the earliest we usually go back, usually around like the 10th maybe of September.
You get quite a nice.
So yeah, it's quite late. Yeah. Ness said she might be reading Wranglestone or might be editing a video. I support editing videos during the sprints because I actually do get a lot of editing done when I edit while people are sprinting. And Rye is here as well. Hi, Rye. Nice to see you again. Ooh. I don't know how many I've read this month. I went to get my hair cut yesterday, and I always go with someone else, and my aunt was with me that time. She has quite dark brown hair, and she dyes it blonde, so it takes like a good 3 hours for her hair to go blonde. So I then have to sit there like I wait for her, and I think I read like 3 comic books back to front on my iPad. I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. So I probably my numbers are probably boosted right now because of that.
I love that though. I love when you get in a little groove of a certain, either like a certain format or a certain genre, and you just like want to read it all. It's great. I've read quite a lot.
Rye's going to be reading. Oh yeah, what did you say you were reading?
Oh no, you read. I was just going to say
okay,
I've read
cool.
quite a lot this month, but like I don't really know why. I think it's just I finished up a load of books that I was like halfway through, so I think that's boosted my numbers as well.
Yeah.
So how many have you read?
10. So
10.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Like how.
That's awesome. I can remember the last month I read 10 books, but I do think I'm a little bit of a slow reader. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess maybe in the summer or something you might get the time to read a bit more.
That's true. I think I had a month during the summer where I read 8 books.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
That is, yeah.
That's good.
That's probably what I usually read. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys set Goodreads reading goals?
I haven't this year. I just kind of went with it.
Yeah, just kind of did your own.
I set my reading goal every year to 52, so that's 1 book a week, because that's like an average that I can like achieve quite easily, and I've already beaten that this year, and I don't intend, like before I would then increase it and like keep challenging myself, but then it just got stressful, so now I just leave it at 52, and then once I've gone past it I just keep reading.
Yeah, that's still really good, because my Goodreads reading goal is 12 for this year. So I mean, of course I passed it, but like I did not want any pressure at all to read. I wanted it to just be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I went back to doing, because last year I upped it constantly, and then at one point I upped it to 100, and I started getting really stressed because then Goodreads starts telling you like you're 6 books behind or whatever, and it was really stressing me out. And I read about 92, I think, in the end, and like right before the end of the year I just decreased it to 90, and like I was reading graphic novels to try and just get past 90, and I was like, why did I do this to myself? So yeah. Then I cut it back.
It does. It becomes stressful, and then you stop enjoying it, and you think, "What's the point of this? It's meant to be enjoyable. It's meant to be for fun."
And then you get in a slump.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying to one of my friends, I showed him my core pile, because I use the core pile spreadsheet from Book Roast, if you know about that one, where it comes up with loads of stats for you, and it tells you how many books you've read per month, and you can see where the slump hit, because I was going like up, 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 and then it just dramatically drops, where like one month in March, I read 16 books, and it's because I was pressuring myself to read all the time, and then after that, it just went dush, because I just went into a massive slump because I was like, I don't like reading anymore. I pushed it too much.
It's definitely, yeah, I've had that as well. Yeah. You feel like you're just your own reading as well, which is not very fun.
Yeah, it's meant to be fun. Like, what's the point in doing booktube if it's not fun?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Rai said she's reading Saw Kill Girls. I don't know if I even still own that one, because that one, I really enjoyed reading it. I don't know if you guys know it, because it's a young adult, like, it's young adult dystopian, like, it's a bit of a pandemic book, to be honest with you, I think. Is that Saw Kill Girls?
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
I think I'm confusing it with Wilder Girls. Is that also the name?
Yeah.
Okay. That one's like body horror. Is that right? Or I don't know. It has
Wilder Girls is Wilder Girls is where they get the flu and then it like makes them mutate, I think. Something like that.
I've heard a lot of people say that they could not finish
Saw Kill Girls is not the one. Yeah, Saw Kill Girls is not the one that I thought of. But I think I still own that on my TBR, so I'll be interested to hear what Rai thinks. Yeah, Wilder Girls is a lot. It's not as bad like as people think it's going to be in terms of like body horror, but like it's got a very unsatisfying ending and a very like unrealistic ending, in my opinion. Like none of the like loose threads get tied up at the end. It just kind of ends, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Ness says she's read 8 books this month, but I don't think I've left the house or slept a full 8 hours. That's tough.
Hope you're okay.
Adriana set the reading goal at 100 and at 95 now, so I could just relax until the end of the year. That is wow.
So impressive.
Wow. I said Nessa said someone on TikTok said they had read over 300 books this year so far. What?
Wow.
How?
Yeah, how? Yeah.
I don't think I've done that in 5 years, like at least.
Yeah.
No, I did a Q&A and someone asked me like how many books have I read total, and I think I did the maths in my head, and I think I probably read 400 to 500 in my entire life. So this person is like, wow. But I do have a friend who has read, I think it's Rachel from Let Me in the Library. I think she says she's already read over 200 this year, but that's because she reads a lot of manga. So they're like really fast reads. So she ends up reading like 30 books a month because it's manga. You get through it so fast.
Yeah, that definitely boosts my numbers as well, like reading comics and manga and stuff.
Yeah. And then we've got another 6th book of the month. So I think we're all doing roughly quite similar this month, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is 8 if you include the 3 comics I read yesterday, but the 3 comics I read yesterday were under 100 pages. So it's more like 5 books and like 3 novellas, I guess.
Oh, it counts. It counts.
Yeah. I'll count it. But like everyone's like, how have you read so many books? I'm like, I read a lot of graphic novels when I find them for free on the library.
Yeah.
Shall we do our first sprint in a minute and we'll talk about what we're reading first? I haven't actually decided what I'm going to read yet. I started the manga version of Big Hero 6 at the hairdressers yesterday, so I might finish that off in the first sprint because I don't have much left of the first volume of that manga. If not, then I'll be reading a little bit of The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I'm buddy reading this with Izzy from Izzy's Busy Reading, and I need to get to page 150 so that we can carry on reading because she's waiting for me. So I might read that in one of the sprints. I have not decided yet. What are you guys reading?
I can go. So I'm reading I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. And I'm thinking of doing this one for like a video. Like I love how people do those like taste test videos. So I'm doing like a celebrity taste test, and this is one celebrity's favorite book.
Wow,
Nice.
that's very cool.
I like it so far. It's really like atmospheric. It's kind of like right now it's in the dead of winter, so it's not very like seasonally appropriate, but I like that even better because it's nice to escape from the boiling hot heat.
Yeah.
Especially if it's really hot where you are. I'm the same as you, Lily. I don't really know what I'll read, but I did bring through a couple of options. I have one prompt to fulfill for Pixarathon actually. The funny book, a book that makes you laugh. So I'm hoping this book will make me laugh. It's Chilling Effect. It's a sci-fi. I don't know if either of you have read it.
I've not heard of it.
No, it's about a girl and she goes to space and she has to find a way to save her sister, but there's lots of like cats involved somehow.
No.
It sounds totally random. So I'm hoping it'll make me laugh.
If you want a funny sci-fi graphic novel ever, I would recommend Space Dumplings. It's like it's I don't know if it's actually middle grade, but it kind of does read like middle grade. And it's about this girl. I think her dad goes missing, and she decides to go through space to find him with this chicken and whatever this is. And this is a very anxious chicken, and he's really funny. So yeah, if you ever want like a funny sci-fi graphic novel, I try to convince people to read this all the time because I don't know anyone else who's read it.
Yeah, love it. That sounds really good.
Okay. Are you guys good for 20 minutes for the first sprint? We'll see how we go. Awesome. I will get the timer ready. I should say my Pixarathon is not going very well. I I have kind of just been mood reading and then trying to fit them into the prompts afterwards. Like in my vlogs, I just stopped. I just gave up in my vlogs trying to say what prompt these were for because I don't know anymore. I'm just reading. Let me get the timer on the screen. Cool. So we will be back in 20 minutes and check in with you guys then. And good luck with your reading, whatever else you'll be doing. Hello, everybody. That is the end of the first sprint. I'll go first and say I finished reading the Big Hero 6 graphic novel manga thing. I've given that one 3 stars. And then while I was rating it and giving a quick review on NetGalley, I then saw that I had another graphic novel I just got approved for. So I then started reading, what is it called? It's called Lugosi. And it's a memoir graphic novel of the actor Bela Lugosi, who played Count Dracula. He's the first ever Dracula. He's very famous for that. And it's about his life and how everything kind of went wrong after he played Dracula. So yeah, I went a bit rogue. But how did you guys do?
Well, before I say, I love graphic novel memoirs. I think so there's one I read, Persepolis. Have you read that one?
Not yet.
I've heard of it, but I didn't get to read it recently. I took it from the library and then I had to give it back before I could read it, but I really want to read it.
Yeah, I say I love graphic novel memoirs. That's actually the only one I've read, but it was so profound that it's just stuck with me. I feel like I would like that too. But anyways, yeah, I think I read maybe half of the chapter, but it's really good. These people just, is this a spoiler? No, they just walked on this girl in the bath. So, and she's kind of freaked out, as she obviously should be.
Wow.
And that's where I'm at.
That's a strange scene. So I just started mine as well. I don't know how far through in the chapter I am, but I've not finished the chapter yet. I've only read 14 pages or so. It's kind of interesting. It seems very chaotic to begin with, so I'll be curious to see.
Did you laugh any?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
Don't know how far to go before I decide it's not funny.
Yeah, I think it can be hard to find actually funny books, because you'll find books where it says on the blurbs oh, this is hilarious, and then you'll read it and you'll be like, it wasn't that funny.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes afterwards you're like, wow, I really wasn't expecting that book to be funny, and you just laughed loads.
Yeah, the funny ones usually surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like either it's an author writes funny books, and that's how you're going to get a laugh, or you just kind of have to trust what other people say. But it's so subjective that I've had people recommend me books being this book is so funny, and I'm like, this book was not funny at all. I found it really emotional but funny.
So that's me with the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Those books to me are hilarious, but my students, when they read them, they don't really pick up on a lot of the humor, and they're kind of why does he keep telling you the definitions of things? Why is this happening? So it's so subjective.
Yeah.
How old are they?
They're 11.
Oh, okay, I get that now. Yeah.
So 6th graders. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading them for the first time now. I found them in a charity shop where someone had obviously donated their entire hardback collection of them. So I now have them slowly going through them. And yeah, it's really hit and miss me whether I find it funny or not. I think the first time I read certain things, I'm like, oh, that's kind of shocking. And then when it happens again, you're like, oh no, okay, I get it. It's just a joke now.
I think I tend to find just middle grade and children's humor much more funny than I do adult humor, which I'm in the perfect profession, I think. But there was a book, Nevermore. I just finished reading that one, and I thought there were so many funny moments in that book where I just had to sit it down because I was laughing so hard.
Oh, I really need to read that one.
Yeah, and it's not a comedy book at all. It's a fantasy, but just the characters and their personalities are so realistic and funny.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I've heard it's very cute. I've heard Nevermore is really cute and feel good, and yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It also is it's so transportive. I really felt the world was real and that I got lost in it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I have it. I think it's on my TBR cart, so it's quite high up on my physical TBR. But it's one of those ones where I always really want to read it, and then I'm worried I'm not going to like it, so then I put it off, because there was like a period of time on BookTube where like everyone was reading Nevermore, like everyone seemed to be reading it at the same time, and everyone was raving about it, and I was like, I don't want to read it and not like it.
I like 100% believe that you have to like be at the right place to read a book sometimes, because Nevermore I actually had tried to read before and I DNF'd it. And now I love it and gave it 5 stars. And it's like, I guess I was just at a weird place in my life.
I think I'm having that with the Starless Sea, because I think because I hate The Night Circus. Like, I read that book when I was like 17, I think, and I absolutely hated it. And I only read it because people were telling me it was really, really good, and I was like waiting for it to get good, and it just wasn't my thing. And I think if the Starless Sea had come out at the same time and I'd read that back then as well, I would have hated it as well. But now that I'm reading it at the age I am now, I am loving it. I'm really into it. I think it's because like I've got to the point now with reading where I don't feel like I have to know what's going on all the time. And with the Starless Sea, you kind of just have to, like, at least for the first bit that I'm at, you have to let go and just accept that you don't understand what's going on, you don't know what's going to happen. And I think younger me would have hated that. I would have been like, I just want to know the point of this book.
So did you read Night Circus?
Yeah, I read the Night Circus and I did finish it.
Okay.
I think if I rated books back then, I probably would have rated like 2 stars back then.
The ending is strange.
I feel like the ending was the one bit I was kind of like, I predicted the ending. To me, the ending was really obvious, but I kind of liked the ending because that was the one bit that had something going on. My problem with the Night Circus as a teenager was like nothing happens for a really long time. It's really slow, and like it's kind of sold as this book that isn't, like, people don't tell you it's slow before you read it, and then you read it and you're like, why is nothing happening? But I think I'd like it more now if I read it now, but I just don't intend to ever go back to it.
I think that Erin Morgenstern's like one of her favorite writers is Donna Tartt, who writes literary fiction, and so I feel like you see the influence of Donna Tartt in her books, because there's a lot of that writing about nothing, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, she definitely reads like fantasy literary fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that.
Is that one, the Starless Sea, is that like about a library or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they tell you that, but then like when I'm like at page 130 and they haven't actually told you that in the book yet properly. Like they kind of mention it's a library, but they don't really explain it properly yet. But yeah, it's very confusing. The blurb probably makes it, like, the blurb makes it sound like it's a more coherent story than it is. But I wouldn't say that's a bad thing about the book. It's a bit like if you've ever heard of Harrow or Gideon the Ninth, the first book, and then Harrow the Ninth. People rave about that book, but you have to go into Gideon the Ninth knowing you are not going to understand a single thing you read, and you don't understand by the end of the book either. Halfway through, I think about 3/4 of the way through Harrow the Ninth, the second book, things start to make sense, but you just have to like suspend your disbelief and like go along with it for 2 3/4, but it's for nearly 2 books basically. But if you can put up with that, it's worth it. And I feel like the Starless Sea is kind of the same, where like nothing is coming together yet for me, and I'm at page 130, but I'm just kind of going along with it now.
I want to say so much because I've read that book, but I just feel like everything is spoilery, so I can't say anything, but I loved it.
Yeah, it's really good so far. Oh no, is my camera gonna go again? I had to keep turning my camera off last time I was here because it kept just cutting out. So if I have to do that, I'm really sorry. So we had 2 people in the chat. Adriana managed 18 pages, which is really good for 20 minutes. And then managed 7 pages. I think that's fair though, like reading slow at the beginning of a book. I do as well, like getting into the book. Ness did some editing. My video is coming in at 50 minutes, so I need to cut some more rambling out. I hate it when that happens.
Been there.
Oh, it's like vlogs. I hate editing vlogs. Like I love filming vlogs, I love watching vlogs, but I hate editing them because like I repeat myself so much because I don't remember from one day to the next what I said in the vlog. So like in each day I'm like reintroducing the book and I have to try and cut that out. Oh, I feel your pain.
Yeah. I sort of set a rule that I try and introduce the book the first time I talk about it, and then I don't know if it works, but
my problem is that I struggle to remember like when I switch between books midweek. If I say I finish a book on like Thursday night and I pick up a new one, I can never remember on the Friday morning if I introduced it on Thursday night or not. So then I like reintroduce it again on Friday just in case, and then it's always a nightmare to cut out.
I think it's funny just because I'm always so picky with my own vlogs, but then if other people, like when I'm watching their vlogs, like repeat themselves, I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. You know, I'm not bothered.
Yeah, that's such a mood. I don't think I'd even notice if people started repeating themselves in vlogs, because like, especially if there's B-roll in between the clips, I just completely forget. Like I just go along with it.
Yeah.
Quite happy to be told an own story.
So Nessa saying humor and horror are things I struggle to find the most in books. Yeah, like when someone says like when a readathon prompt is find a scary book, I end up just going for a book that is traditionally scary rather than a book that actually scare me, because I find it really hard to find, like I won't know going into a book if the one's actually going to scare me.
Like thrillers. Oh my gosh, the last few that I've read have not thrilled me at all.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't hit, and they can be really popular as well, and you think, what am I missing?
This is like such an unpopular opinion, but The Guest List by Lucy Foley, it's like, that's a really popular thriller book, and for me, I just thought it was so boring.
I think almost all of my friends that have read that have said the same thing as you. I feel like from the way I've seen it is like the general public seems to say it's an amazing thriller, but like people who avidly read seem to be a bit more like it's not that great.
Yeah.
So
sometimes when it's like thrillers especially, there's certain things that kind of happen, and when you read a lot of them, it's like a formulas that you start to notice. So I think if you read a lot, you probably think, this is just another run-of-the-mill thing, maybe. I don't know, I've not read that one, but that's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's especially bad with thrillers, because thrillers and horror books like rely on the surprise and like the mystery element. Whereas like for me, romance books are incredibly predictable. Like, you know that almost every romance book is going to end up with them getting together at the end. Like, it's not a surprise when they do. But like, it's not about that in romance books. It's more about the vibes. Whereas like with thrillers and horrors, you're supposed to not know how it's going. So yeah, like when it becomes too formulaic, it ruins it for thrillers and horrors, but not for like other genres for me.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't end up at the end in a romance book, I would be really annoyed.
I'm so like romance trained though. I don't know if you know the movie How to Be Single. I think it might be on Amazon Prime or something. And it's about like a woman who's come out of like a long-term relationship and she's trying to learn how to be single, but she like goes on dates with all these different guys. And I was watching it with my boyfriend being like, oh, I think she's going to end up with that guy. She's going to end up with that guy. And my boyfriend was like, the film is called How to Be Single. I don't think she's going to end up with anyone. But I was so trained by like romance novels to be like, oh, which one's she going to pick?
I'd be the same.
We had another vote for Nevermore being fantastic. I definitely just need to pick it up at some point. Maybe I'll pick it up next month. I don't know.
It feels wintry somehow. Is it a wintry feeling book?
I feel like it could be good for like anywhere between like October to December, because like it's very strong Halloween vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
But there's also this like glorious like few chapters that take place around Christmas, and I mean that it would be great for that too.
I think I was given it as a Christmas gift maybe, which is why like I got it quite late, and so then I didn't want to read it until, I think I said to myself I'll save it until like next autumn. I think that's why I put it off for a while, and now I'm just avoiding it because I'm scared of not liking it.
Perfect time soon though.
And Ness agrees with me on The Night Circus. Read it when it came out and I was so bored. I wanted fast pace, and then it didn't give me that. I think it is partially due to like the marketing around The Night Circus. I feel like they call it, I think I've seen it on blurbs for it being like, it's thrilling, it's an adventure, and I'm like, it's not that. It's beautiful, it's lyrical, it's not an adventure. I think if they advertised it more as a beautiful book, people wouldn't go in expecting plot, but there isn't really plot.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I would expect plot. I don't know why. Yeah. So,
no, it's more just beautiful descriptions. And it is really beautifully written, but like it is just a bit, if you're wanting something to happen, it doesn't really happen.
It sounds like not my kind of book. I need something to hold. Yeah. Is there a good character? Maybe that would keep me in. No.
I mean, they don't stick with me really, but I feel like I remember a romance that was.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so I think I liked that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what kept me going, was the romance, because that was kind of the only plot that you have in the book. It's like, will they, won't they? Like, because there's no actual plot. The most plot you get is like the romance, basically. But I guess the problem is it's not really even about the characters all that much. It's really hard to describe it without spoilers, but it's about the magic they create. So the book is mostly about describing the magical things they create and how it affects the circus goers rather than the actual people as much. But yeah, they're not particularly like memorable characters for me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So should we go straight into another sprint? Are you guys ready? Or yeah?
Yeah.
Was 20 minutes good, or do you want to like more time, less time?
I think 20 was good for me.
Yeah, perfect for me.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. So we'll do another 20 minutes. I'll put the timer on the screen again. Let me get that up. And we will check back in with you guys in 20 minutes. hello, that is the end of the 20 minutes. I'll go first again. So I got about a third of the way through, and it's really good actually so far. I was surprised by how like genuine it feels, considering it's not an autobiography, because like he died in 1950 something. But it is like really interesting. And yeah, I'm only a third of the way through, but he's already on his third divorce, so it's going well for Lugosi so far. But yeah, no, I'm actually really liking it. I did have to look up a picture of him though to try and get it clear in my head, because the art style is really simplistic. But I am really liking it. What about you guys?
I think I read about 9 pages, but I also had to get some carrots, so I was snacking while I read. But I think we've just now got to like the inciting incident of the story. So after about like 3 pages or 3 chapters of kind of like background and setting things up, I feel like it's going to start moving pretty fast from here. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this book is told, like it's written as if the girl is writing in her journal, and that just adds like a really interesting aspect to it.
Nice.
I love stuff like that when it's like mixed media or like journal entries or anything. Yeah. It's always such a quick read, like you get through it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I finished my chapter of my book that I was reading, but it's really not funny, so I'm gonna have to sub it out and for something else. So I was just looking on my library Libby app to see if they had something that might be funny. I was trying to remember the name of that book you mentioned, Lily. Do you mind repeating it?
The graphic novel, or
yeah,
it's called Space Dumplings by Craig Thompson.
Okay, I'm going to look up in my library to see if they have it. It sounds funny.
I feel like middle grade is a good bet if you're looking for something funny, though. I thought, because like most middle grades, most middle grades have some kind of humor in them.
Mm-hmm.
My students really like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh yeah.
I love that as a kid.
Yeah, they're the first books to go off the library shelf.
Yeah, I bet actually they're really popular, aren't they?
Sorry, my cat nearly knocked over.
Oh, sorry?
Sorry, my cat nearly knocked over a glass of water, so I was distracted for a second.
Hi,
I was just asking, does Show Us, Elle McNichol's Show Us Who You Are, is that funny?
I wouldn't say that one is. I would say A Kind of Spark has probably got more humour in it than Show.
Okay, I've read A Kind of Spark. Actually,
I don't know.
So I could count it.
I'm trying to think of what else I've got that's like quite common, that's quite funny. I guess it's hard because it is so subjective. Have you read This Is Going to Hurt by who's it by? That's a non-fiction, and it's a doctor. It's about a junior doctor. It's his diary entries from when he actually was a junior doctor, but he since has left and is now a comedian. And it's basically his experiences. And they also have a spin-off called something like the Christmas. It's something about his night shifts at Christmas. I can't remember what it was called. And that was really funny because as a junior doctor, you get rotated into a different department every year in the NHS. And he's Jewish. And so every year he'd be in a new department. They'd find out who's Jewish. They'd be like, oh, you can work Christmas. So he worked Christmas like every year of his junior doctor rotation. So it's about all of his shifts over Christmas. So both of those are really funny if you can get them.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think I have that on Kindle.
A common one too is Winnie the Pooh. But all of those stories are so funny.
I've never even thought about that as a funny one, but that's probably right. Yeah,
they're so sweet.
Yeah, quick read as well.
Yeah, because I mean, some of them are just shorts. They're really like short stories in a collection.
Yeah, that could work.
Plus, those stories warm my heart.
I used to read them as a kid. I've not read them as an adult, but I used to love Winnie the Pooh as a kid. So,
have you read Heartstopper?
Oh,
yes, I have. Yeah, I'm on volume 4.
Because there's some funny moments in Heartstopper.
Yeah, that's right enough. There are some, aren't there?
Is Heartstopper Volume 4 out for you guys?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
just recent.
Because I can't get the copy until December, but I think that has to do with the US.
Yeah, I think yours is behind us. Try to see it. I'm pretty sure I've got it on my shelf somewhere. But I can't remember what colour it is, which means I can't find it on my rainbow shelves.
It's purple.
Oh, no, it's got a yellow spine. Yeah, it is out. I can see it. Yeah, we've got it.
Is the fourth one funny then?
I think so. Like, yeah, there's always like a bit that makes me. It's not like really funny, but there are bits that like make me laugh when I read it.
Yeah, I might read that in the end then, because I just got it at the library the other day.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have a look at my Notion for Pixarathon and see if I've actually picked one for funny book yet, because I don't know if I've done it.
Is that on your route?
So are you guys doing a readathon?
Yeah, so we're doing Pixarathon, which is it's Pixar movies, and each movie has its own prompt. But this year I created different routes so that you could like group the movies together, and whereas last year it was just kind of like I created a prompt for each movie and you just did what you wanted. So yeah, that's why I'm doing so many reading sprints this month.
Oh, okay, that's fun.
Oh yeah, I do have one planned for book that will make you laugh, but it's not one that I'm likely to get to this month. It's an arc. But I still need to read, to finish my route, I still need to find a book with an elderly main character, which I'm meant to be reading Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, the arc of that, which I'm hoping has an elderly main character. If not, I'm screwed. And then a book featuring musical musicians, and I'll be reading Daisy Jones and the Six for that one probably. So I need to get to those soon.
I'm terrible at sticking to TBRs. I make them and I have great intentions, and then I just...
Yeah, I've already gone off mine massively.
I did an Enneagram, like Enneagramathon. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay, and so I had like a great TBR, and I think I changed every single book on my TBR.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
that is me. I always post a TBR, and then like this year I posted the TBR for Pixarathon, and as I was like uploading it, I'd already in my head been like, actually I'm going to change it. I already knew I wasn't going to follow it.
And so it's funny if you do like a wrap up or something, because you're like, so I was going to read all these books, I end up reading all these other ones.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think it's better.
It's like, you know, you do those TBRs, but they're like, oh, if I don't read this in a year, they will like self-destruct and you have to unhaul them if you don't read them. I feel like I need to do that, because I was looking at a TBR I posted last August, and it was like my summer TBR for 2021, and I think I read like 2 of them since last August. And the rest, it was like a 20-book TBR. I don't think I've read the rest of them. But I'm just like such a nightmare for like having the same books on my TBRs every month and just never reading them. Someone said, Abigail said that they completely changed their route to a shorter one. That is a mood.
I think
that is such a mood.
Route, so I don't think I can even do that.
Which one are you doing? Is it the existential route?
The monster route.
I think the existential route is the shortest one, because that's only 2, I think, or maybe it's 3. They might be equal, but yeah, monster route is quite a small one. I tried to make a mixture of like big routes and small routes so people had the options.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Nessa said she stopped making TBR videos because I'm too much of a media reader and it's too much pressure to commit to what I've said, and that is mood.
Yeah.
It's like when I see people doing like TBR games at the beginning of the month, and they're like, oh, if I don't read these books, this is the punishment. And I'm like, I would get a punishment for like every single book. So there was someone, I can't remember who it is, but like every book they don't read of their TBR, they have to add an extra book next month. I was like, by the end of the year, I'd have to have like a 20-book TBR every month. So I just wouldn't read any of them. Like, it just wouldn't happen.
The thing about TBR videos though is I never like hold anyone to the video. Do you know what I mean? Like I always think when I'm making them, like, oh, people are going to feel like I've really misled them with this video when I don't read them. But then I never think that about anyone else's. So it's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with you, Katie.
I think I don't really often remember what people said they were going to read in their TBR videos, unless they said like a book. If they talk about a book that I really love and they say they're going to read it this month, then in my head I'll be like keeping an eye out to see if they read it because I want to hear what they think. But other than that, I don't remember.
Yeah. No, I'm mostly just happy to sort of, I don't know, booktube often feels like you're just kind of hanging out with someone, doesn't it? Like, yeah. So it feels like you've just hung out and it doesn't really matter if they do what they say they're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to have it on in the background a lot of the time when I'm working. Because I do a lot of like tech stuff, so a lot of the time I'm just like typing away, I'm not thinking. So I tend to have booktube on in the background. It does feel like someone's just like chatting to you while you're working.
Yeah, it's quite a nice like comforting thing, booktube, I always think.
Yeah. Do you guys do TBRs very often though? Because I only ever do them if I'm doing a readathon.
I do. I try to have a TBR for every single month. And I know I said that like I'm bad about keeping TBRs, but honestly, this month I've kept to my TBR except for I guess what I read for the readathon, because I had 3 other books that I had wanted to read, and I kept most of those. I set them as like gentle guidelines of reading, and then if I don't read them, it's like okay, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm not that good at doing it religiously. I do it kind of, I've done one for like summer, and I do like the odd occasional one if there's a readathon, but I'm not good at kind of like that, doing it religiously every month. But I admire people who do.
I might try and do one for like books I want to read before the end of the year, to try and pressure myself to read them, because like the whole point is I have a 3-tiered TBR cart. And the idea behind it was I put all the books that I was like most excited about and that like at the top of my TBR, because my physical TBR is bigger than 3 tiers of a TBR cart. So that's like my most highly anticipated books go on there, thinking like, oh, then I'll get to them quicker. I swear to God, the top tier of this TBR cart has not changed in several months. Like the same books have been staring at me for months now, and I'm like, this is not working. So I feel like I need to have some like external pressure of some kind to start reading the books, because like I really want to read them. I just get scared I'm not going to like them. Yeah. I've had so many books this year where I thought I was going to love them and I've DNF'd them or rated them low. So I'm just like, I'm just in a state of fear.
Yeah, I think like that as well.
And also, it's hard to get started into a new book sometimes. I feel like I get so immersed in the last one, and then you have to completely like start over with new characters and new situations. I don't know. Sometimes it takes me forever to get into a new book.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm reading comics at the moment, because I read an arc of With You Forever by Chloe Leese. It's the 4th book in the Bergman Brothers series, which is like an adult romance series. And each book has different like disability representation in it. But quite a lot of hers have autism rep in it because she's autistic. And it's like by far my favorite book in the whole series. And I absolutely loved it. And I literally like stayed up until 1 a.m. when I had work the next day reading it. And then the next day I finished it on my lunch break. I literally read it in like 24 hours. So I loved it so much. And then I was like grumpy for the rest of the day because I'd finished it and I couldn't keep reading it. And I haven't picked up like a proper book since. I've only been reading like really short comics because I just can't face picking up a proper book now, because I'm like, I just still want to be reading that book. Why did I rush it? Yeah. So yeah, like I don't really get book hangovers where like I don't want to read at all. I just get like book grumpiness where I'm sad that I finished a book that I was loving.
Is there another one in the series already out, or is that the latest that you've read?
That one's not even out yet. That's the sad part. It comes out on the 17th of September, so I read the arc. But she tends to release 2 or 3 books a year, because the series started like last year, I think, and we're already on book 4. But I don't think we're getting another one this year. I think the next one comes out like early next year. So it's a bit of a wait. But I might go back and reread the earlier ones because I haven't read those since last year.
Yeah, just start from the beginning and read all 4 again.
I think I've heard people say that like the way to keep yourself from getting a book slump is like immediately after you finish reading a book, like start another one that very second, just so that you are in something, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that works, but
I don't think I could do that. I feel like I need like a breather for like even like a 5-minute breather between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can start a new book like the same day, but maybe not like finish the last page, start a new one right away. I probably need a cup of tea at least.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, I need like a break. I need to like walk out of the room and come back before I can pick up another book. Shall we do one more sprint before we go? Do another 20 minutes because it is getting quite late for me, so I probably only have time for one more before I have to go to bed. But I will get the timer back up on the screen. Cool. We'll check back in 20 minutes. hello. That is the end of the sprint. I'm about 2,000 of the way through now, and it's getting kind of sad now because it's about his like rise and fall from fame, and so it's getting to the part now where Hollywood's starting to turn his back on Lugosi, and it just is getting a bit sad. But the way they're telling it is really interesting because they're really explaining how Hollywood's attitudes towards horror as a genre is what actually led to his rise and fall, because it was about how like he got typecast as a horror actor, and then when conservatives started being like, we shouldn't be having these films happening, it kind of destroyed his career. And that's really interesting how they're explaining it. So I'm really enjoying it, as much as you can enjoy like a book about someone's life and death. But yeah, let us know in the comments how you guys have been doing in the last sprints. How did you guys do?
Oh, you're on mute. I think I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was. Sorry. I read 11 pages and I really enjoy this book. I got into part 2 of it, and I think one of the things about it is like the characters live basically in isolation and they're really, really poor. And so the girl finally has this chance and she's really excited because she thinks she's going to meet a guy and maybe she'll be able to get married. But then all she knows about romance is what she's learned in books that are at least 100 years old. And so she scares the men off and it's her only prospect. And so it's I feel like secondhand embarrassment for her, but also it was pretty funny.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
I found a book to read, which is good. I found a graphic novel, Lumberjanes, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah, that's on my TBR. I've heard that's really good.
Yeah.
I read the first, like, it's like a series. I read the first one last year, and I liked it, but I just never got around to continuing. So I found the second one on my library thing. And it made me laugh. It's quite funny, so it's fulfilling the prompt, most importantly. Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Did it make you laugh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not like laugh, but like a chuckle. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's enough. Mm-hmm.
So Ness said that she read 16 pages of Heroes of Olympus after giving up on editing that as a mood. And she also subscribed to you guys. So yay, I'm so happy.
Subscribe to you.
I've got another one saying 9 pages, which I think is really good for 20 minutes. But when you're saying about the whole, like, all of her knowledge of romance comes from books from 100 years ago, that was actually part of the With You Forever, the book that I read last week, where because he's like autistic, for him it means that he doesn't really understand romance or what he's supposed to do. So one of his brothers like feeds him romance novels constantly to try and like teach him, but they're all like historical romance novels. So when he realized that he's falling in love with a girl, he's like, I don't know what to do because it's not the Regency era. Like, not ask her to a ball because balls don't exist anymore. What do I do? And it's just, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that reminds me of that part in the book. It's so good.
I think I read a book too. It's like a YA like romance. It was called By the Book, I think, and it had a really similar premise. The girl only read like classic novels, and so her she flirted in Victorian literature language.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of makes me think about how, what if you found another like classics nerd who vied with that flirting? That would be like the ideal, wouldn't it? If you like started
dream come true.
You have to write that down.
So I don't know if you guys have seen the show Sex Education on Netflix, where there's this girl who it's like set in a school, and it's like basically like about the sex lives of all the teenagers at the school and how it like impacts everything. And there's this one girl who's obsessed with like sci-fi, like she draws sci-fi porn basically, and she's all into tentacles and stuff, and everyone else is like, what are you going on about? And then she finds this other guy like wearing a t-shirt with like tentacles on it, and she's like and they start flirting, and I was like, that is exactly what happens when you find someone else who likes your like weird thing that you like. Oh, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So just what were we reading? I was reading Lugosi, which is a graphic novel biography of Lugosi, who was the first ever person to play Dracula on screen. I can't remember what you guys are reading, so I'll let you guys say what you were reading in the last one.
Yeah, I'm reading I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith, and it's very charming, very atmospheric. I love it, and the characters are pretty funny too.
I just started Lumberjanes. It's a graphic novel series, and I'm on the second installment.
Nessa was saying that Lily, the character I was talking about, would absolutely be a booktuber. I feel like she would be. I feel like she'd either be some kind of booktuber, or even like if she got into gaming, I could see her being a streamer because she's really like out there. She's really cool. And I was reading Ninth House, which makes me very happy because I absolutely love Ninth House. Once you push past those first 50 pages of it being a bit boring, it is such a good book.
Oh, it's so interesting that you mentioned that because I started the audiobook and I DNF'd like in the first chapter or two. I think it was maybe the second chapter. So, okay, I should have kept going.
Yeah, I DNF'd it the first time I tried to read it, but it was one of those where I was like, I'm going to come back to it. But I would say like once you get past the first 50 pages, it really picks up after that. It's like a few chapters in, it gets going. And Cleo is reading Shadows of Self. I don't know that one, but I hope you're saying you're struggling with it, but I hope it gets better. But I don't know about you guys, but I probably won't be able to do another sprint because I have work tomorrow and it's nearly 10. But it's been really nice sprinting with you guys.
And you.
Thank you for coming. All of their channel links should be in the description below, I hope. So yeah, please do go check them out. And yeah, is there anything else you guys wanted to say or anything at all?
Just thank you, Lily, for having me. And Katie, it was nice to meet you.
Well, it's me too. I was just going to say the exact same thing. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I've loved meeting so many people in these sprints. Like a lot of the time, this is the first time I've got a chance to speak to people, which is like the same for you guys. So yeah, it's really nice getting to meet everyone.
I know.
Yeah. Likewise.
Cool. So I feel like maybe we will end the stream there. And I think I've got more sprints on Friday. I think that's when the next sprints are. And yeah, so if you are wanting to do more sprints with me, I'll be back on Friday. And yeah, that is it. So thank you, everybody. And that's goodbye from us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.